Hey guys, Mike here from Sell Your Service, and I'm with Lee Jackson. Lee, how you doing?
I am absolutely wonderful, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm glad
We
that we
have already
finally
done
got.
this offline.
Yeah, we haven't literally just jumped on,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
and we've been trying to have this conversation for a while. Obviously, being busy people and stuff, but I really wanted to talk to you about agency transformation because you've got
Okay.
this event coming up. I'm
hmm
involved, so I was like,
I
well,
know.
you know, we'll have a link in it to it down
Might
below.
as well.
Talk us through what is it that agencies, because agencies are a funny word. Some individuals call
Mm.
themselves agencies, and then
Yep.
all the way through to actually like groups of people sometimes call themselves that and sometimes don't. What are we looking to transform? What are we looking to change? Why does this exist?
All right. Well, first of all, I apologize. It's a sunny day, and I'm going to go dark and light quite often.
Don't worry about it.
So I've just literally gone dark all of a sudden. All right. So, well, what is an agency is an absolute great question. As far as I'm concerned, it's a business that is providing creative solutions. That could be creative marketing, it could be visual, it could be programming, etc. There are a group of different agency types. It's perfectly fine in my book for someone who is on their own who also has a team of contractors or whatever or partners to call themselves an agency. It is just simply a word, I believe, that helps you to describe what it is, the service that you are offering. I think a lot of people say, oh, I'm just a freelancer or I'm just a consultant, and then try
Yeah.
and put themselves down when actually, if you are offering agency level services, there is absolutely no reason why you can't be called an agency. So when I started in 2013, it's nearly our sixth birthday.
Wow.
So yeah, a Van Gogh crown. I was calling myself an agency as a one-man band
Hmm.
because I knew the direction I was going. I was heading to become an agency.
Cool.
So I started talking like the agency I was going to become. Within a year, I had 2 employees and so on and so forth, and then an office, etc. So I named myself where I was going, and have since created it.
I
Thus,
like that.
so
I like
lots
naming
of
your
words.
business for where you're going, where you see the potential. That makes a lot of sense, and I think that takes the
Absolutely,
pressure off people.
absolutely, yeah.
And
So
so
if you call yourself an agency, it's cool. Do it.
yeah, all right, awesome. Okay, well, kind of coming on to that next stage then, this is, we're at a real critical stage for a lot of businesses, and the way that people are starting businesses, the sheer volume that people are starting businesses, there's a big blend, and I know in a lot of your content, there's a big blend between everything from actual productivity stuff, tools, processes,
hmm
all the way through to more of the mindset, health based things. That's certainly been big recently, and you've kind of put this event together, bringing some amazing people, into a room in England for a couple of days. How, why, what's going on, what's happening, who wants to attend?
Let, let me talk to you about that then. So the problem is, like, all right, so let's just understand, we're all agency owners. It's 2019. The
Mhm.
cost of entry for web design, for all of this sort of stuff is plummeting. Has been for the last 10 years because we have Upwork, we have all of these third party services where people are literally like bleeding themselves to
Mhm.
provide their services for dirt cheap. And frankly, as agencies, be you a solo agency or be you a group of people, it's getting harder and harder to run a business, to get good paying clients. It's getting harder as well to understand or even to feel satisfaction in what you're doing because there's so much freaking noise on the internet about how you should be making all this content. Gary V, you got the Ty Lopez's. We're bombarded with Facebook advertisements all the time, from all these people that stood outside their beautiful houses with their flash cars and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and it's just like mind numbing and depressing and stressful, and it makes us feel really really overwhelmed, and I hate it,
Yeah.
really really hate it, and I would just want to get into I want to get a group of people in a room. That's what this has been all about. Who can give us help at whatever stage we're at. So be that we're not sure what our niche is, we don't even know what our direction is anymore, and we can have
Yeah.
that sort of agency, right through to like we're ready to scale, but we don't even know how.
Yeah.
Give us
Yeah.
some information. Or the mid-range, someone's like working on a project and they're just bogged down by it. So the idea is to create an event of actionable advice where people can graze from all of the different speakers and take
Yeah.
what they need to help them get at least 20% change in their business. That's another thing we do. We buy courses, we do all of these different things. So the mission is for everyone to come and attend and to make 20% change. That could be defining your niche and changing your messaging. That could be putting a system and a process in place that's just going to ignite your sales, whatever it is, whatever it needs to be. It's just providing all of that information and setting from the get-go. Do not be overwhelmed. Only take what you need. Worry about the things that you can do and not the things that you can't do, and start making those small steps towards changing your business. Because I feel like a lot of us have been stuck over a period of time where we just feel like we're not getting anywhere, or we're actually there, but we don't realize it.
Yep.
So that's why we've got such a mix of people. Obviously, there's the mindset people. You know, we've got Samantha Hearn, who's going to help us with things like anxiety. We've got Dan Maybe from WP and Up with things like mental health and awareness and all of that sort of stuff as well. But equally, we've got you, talking things like sales and scaling. We've got Paul Lacey sharing his journey of being involved in a community and how that's helped his business. So there's all sorts of different people. Dave Foy, funnels. I think you'll be talking of funnels. There's all sorts of information going on. We've also got people like Kelly as well. She's coming over from, she was born in China. She's got an amazing story of where she's somebody against all odds who's been able to create a business in a Western world.
Wow.
So she's got a fascinating story as well. So we've just got a whole slew of really cool people at this event, which will hopefully inspire people to change. And yeah, sorry, I'm kind of getting a bit excited now. I shut up? You can ask more questions.
No, that's what I want. Because
I can't wait.
It's
so
like
excited.
I think maybe being on the speaker side and in kind of the group, we've just seen how much work you are physically putting in getting like stuff organized. And now, I want to hear about just how excited you are, because the very positioning of the event, I kind of thought it was very interesting because it was very different compared to like a lot of events sell every speaker. They literally say, if you attend all of this, you'll 10x GrowthCon. Grant knows what he's doing. It's one of the biggest events in the world. But the reality is, whatever it is, 20,000, 25,000 people attending, 99.9% of them aren't actually going to do anything with it. Your approach, it was really interesting when you spoke, you were like, we want you to just take that extra 1/5 of the step that you need to take, that extra 20%.
Yep.
Understand where you are. I completely agree that there's this kind of bizarre paradox where we're overwhelmed with so much information of how successful people are. And we're like, well, I'm miles away from that. But also we're overwhelmed with how much you're supposed to do. And you're like, I physically don't have the time. So it's like, well, I can't win. I can't, not only can I not get there, I can't even do all of the things I'm supposed to do. And the very positioning of your event was, let's actually focus on what it is that you need to do next. And that is why you've got you say you've got a blend, but I think there's some sort of key strengths between all of the speakers and what they talk about. So yeah, I think it's very interesting to take that approach of, let's see if we can get people results, right? Because that's ultimately what the thing is about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to unpack that further as well. So what we did was we tried to work out what like the 5 stages of transformation in any business would be, but particularly in, say, in an agency's life. And we would start with identity. So that's understanding who you are, what you do, your strengths, and who your mission is for, all that sort of stuff, your why, everything all packed into that, because that affects everything else. And a lot of businesses are actually missing that part. They became agencies because they knew how to design or they knew how to build websites, and very often they build websites for anyone who has a company. And then it's just this constant battle and race to the bottom. Before long, you've got an agency that's you're charging not enough. You're building too many websites, and you get no time. So it starts right from there. So if somebody's at that stage, we've got content to help you get that identity, to shift everything towards finding your target audience, to shifting your messaging and all that sort of stuff. We might have people who've already got that. The next stage, though, for them might be understanding the value that they have to offer. When you've got your target audience, your messaging, etc., you also have to understand the value that you provide to those people. And that means I guess the big thing for that is understanding how to price those sorts of things, understanding that you provide value,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding how to price for those sorts of things as well, and understanding the value that you are providing for those people. So it's kind of unpacking that and shifting again people's mindsets from, well, it's only going to take me 5 hours to do this, or so on and so forth, to I am providing the capacity for someone to generate £6 million worth of leads. And I want to put work into this, etc. So it's unpacking all of that. Once you've kind of understood your identity, your value, your worth, so those are the first two stages. You've then got stage 3, which is your platform. You now understand your messaging. The minute I know who I serve, that affects everything. The minute I understand how valuable I am to those people and the value I can give to them, that affects everything. So now it's a case of what platforms do I use to spread my message? So obviously we've got social media people there to help us understand that, how do we spread our message? Tristan's going to be talking with regards to, how we can actually document our lives, which helps us create content without having to create content, for example. And he actually did he did on Monday with us, he did a bit of a preview of what he's going to be talking about, which is fantastic, during our Agency Trailblazer call. It was brilliant. So that's kind of level 3 or step 3 of your, you're now 60% transformed. Now we can go into things like your output, because you've worked your way through those. Your messaging has changed. You're getting your leads in. Your business is growing. So now you want to improve the output and your processes and all of that sort of stuff, because you want to grow through recommendation. You want your clients to be happy. You want to be able to cope with the work that comes in and all that sort of stage. So if someone's already at the platform stage and they're trying to cope with all the work, then you've got people like Pete Everett as well, who's going to help you understand how to manage a project. I think it's something like, his title is Manage a Project Before It Manages You, or something along those lines, and so on and so forth. And then, if you're there and you're like an amazing agency, there is just simply planning for the future. What is next? How can we scale this? What can we do with this? What's our exit plan? All of that sort of stuff as well. So those are those kind of 5 levels. And we did it on purpose like this, because it means that if you're at level 4, you can still come to this event. Or if you're right at the level 1, you can still come to this event, because you only need to take the one next step. And if you're on level 5, you can come and speak. No, I'm joking. Because we all want to hear. No, but whatever stage you're at, just take the next step that you can take for now, or even split that next step into, a 90-day plan of small things that you can do to get to that stage, instead of writing a blog every day and growing your YouTube audience and podcasting and speaking on global stages around the world and everything else that Facebook's telling you need to do. Oh, and selling courses and, and buying someone else's course to understand how to sell courses and wasting tons of money on Facebook ads when you've not even got the time to learn about it and all that sort of, all this stuff that's just hurled at us. Let's just take a step back and find, what can we do next to take the pressure off? Pressure. What? Since when have I been called? Did you hear that? Pressure.
It is soups fresh. Yeah, that's
soups fresh, man.
Yeah. So,
what was that?
We're keeping that in. We don't cut on.
Yeah, keeping it real.
Yeah,
keeping it real. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I dabbed. No, very cool in 2017.
Yeah, exactly. Nice 2017 reference. Yeah. So, because the 5 stages again, that was very interesting, again, to see that process. I think a lot of people, they say, oh, this is, and you're right, all the advertising, the messaging, and the stuff we see out there is you need to be doing this one thing. It's kind of like if you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and whatever you sell, and I'm guilty of this, I'm like sales. Sales solves everything. Get better at sales, sell more. And you're right, there is actually a process that people have to go on that kind of that journey of growth. Not even a journey of growth if people don't want to get big, because sometimes it's actually just how do you run a successful business just even as one person, where you're able to deal with the work, coping. You're absolutely right with the work coming in, but at the same time, you are growing your income. That was a really important process to outline, because, and I know of people who are at stages 3 and 4 who still have not figured out truly stages 1 and 2. So it's not even a case of like, well, you do them sequentially. Some people are going to need to go back to stages 1 and 2 and redo their foundations. And
absolutely,
very interesting that you kind of put it through like that. I just want to kind of take a step back.
Well,
yeah, go for it.
Okay, yeah.
No, you
I
go.
was going to say, well, a lot of people might be at the output stage because
Hmm.
they're trying to work out how to cope with all the business that they have. But the problem might be is that
Yeah.
they're working with the wrong clients, not charging enough.
Yep.
So that if they can go back to identity and value,
Yeah.
they can half their client base, charge a lot more, and instantly the output problem
Hmm.
is already solved
Yeah.
because they missed a piece on their journey. Although it's great that they're at that, that point. You're going to take a step back. Sorry, go for it.
Well, I just kind of wanted to, for those who don't know you and I have been friends for a while and we've moved in similar circles. You didn't start at the perfect agency stage. You didn't have it all mapped out, perfect and ready to go. Where did you
Oh
come
no.
from? How did you get from deciding to start this to putting on this event?
I literally have "Where did you come from? Where did you go?" Cotton Eye Joe in my head now.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I wanted to.
Where
And
did
we'll
you come
fade.
from? Where did you
Yeah,
go? Where did you come from?
perfect.
Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So I've been in the industry for a ridiculous amount of years. I know I look 21, but I'm actually nearly 37, which means I'm older than Killen. Am I older than
Wow.
you, mate? I'm older
Yeah,
than
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's.
you. Yeah.
I was honestly, I would have guessed early 30s comfortably. That's the energy, though. That's the
That's
energy.
why that's why I love you, mate. That's why
That's
we
what we
flirt
get
all
up
the
to.
time.
Yeah, that's what we do.
All
For
right. So many, many moons ago, back in 2005, 2006,
wow.
very long time ago, I was involved with an agency. And what we were was a design agency. And we then built in digital, which was awesome. So that was my favorite part, was coming into this agency that was predominantly design and adding a whole slew of digital services. And it
Yeah.
was great fun. It was amazing. We grew fast, et cetera, et cetera. But then over time, you've obviously got the 2008 crash. I'm
Sure.
old enough to remember that. And,
Yeah.
their budgets were halved. Companies disappeared overnight. People we're trying to choose what's important to spend money on, and perhaps we don't need to do another rebrand. Perhaps we can just use the logo we've already got and we'll go do something else. Or, oh, doesn't your niece do design? Let's get her involved instead of this big agency that's got all these employees that is really, really expensive. And over time as well, we were kind of losing our way a little bit, and we were going, there's the IT industry over there. Maybe we can charge more over there. Maybe we can go over there in pharmaceuticals. And then really started to overwhelm ourselves with all sorts of things going on. And we got to the point where it was really, really difficult to run an agency and not be stressed all the freaking time. So we were very stressed. We're having to drop prices. We were competing in places that we would never have been competing in the past. And it was just a really difficult time for us. And there were members of staff who eventually would go, and it just wasn't great. It's actually hard to talk about still because it's really upsetting. Just thinking of those times, and the arguments that we had as directors.
Wow.
We're actually all still really good friends, and it came out good in the end. But it was a really difficult time for a lot of businesses, but equally for us just as an agency, because out of the fear that we had, we started to lose our way. We were originally, all events focused, and then we lost our way a little bit because of the fear, because of everything that was going on around us, and because again of the information that we were being bombarded with. Hey, there's this industry here. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And then we're like, oh no, we're not doing all of this sort of stuff. Anyway, we then were like, oh, take a step back, put the brakes on, let's have a conversation. What are we all about? And we essentially did this reset. I call it the agency reset. And we just sat down and we went, right, okay, well, who the hell are we? What are we great at? And we mapped it all out. Like, we're really great at designs, brands for agencies, for events. And we're really good at building event websites for them. They're the two things that we're just going to do. And then who do we do it for? And we described our clients and everything like that. And then we went after them and showed them love, etc. And over time, we just did that. We stopped trying to do pharma. We stopped trying to do all these extra things, and we just focused on those. It changed everything. It changed our messaging. It meant that we weren't being vague anymore. It meant we could say what we were talking. I work with events. I could stand up in a networking meeting and say, hey, I work with event companies and I do this. And it just changed everything for us, to the extent where the company is now two businesses. One that specializes just in event websites, which I'm a director of, and the other company is just in event design. And the two companies also work together a lot, which is awesome. So we're all still friends. But that's the extent of how successful it came for us, how it worked out for us in the end. Just by doing that, it was a very, very difficult time. I also then started the company I have two companies. I've got the event business, obviously, but I also then have Angled Crown. Because of that entire journey, of helping a predominantly design agency become a digital agency by providing digital services, i.e. WordPress, etc., and getting employees in who were experts in their field. I had a bit of a taste for doing that for other people. So Angle Crown was born, where we build WordPress themes and plugins for design agencies literally all around the world. So I don't do design. The designs are sent in by the designers, and we create the magic. So, and that's what we do all the time as well. So it allows me to run 2 agencies that are both successful, both pay a salary, both have employees, both allow me to leave at 3:00 in the afternoon if I want to, both allow me to pop over to Florida for 2 months like we did a couple of years ago, just to chill out with the family, etc., and just have a nice time. And that's not to show off or anything, because I actually live in a 2-bedroom mid-terraced house with an 8-year-old car Vauxhall Mariva. But it's just because I'm spending my money on things that, you know, are really important to me, which has actually all been helped by that, going through that process originally. Because when we were going through our identity, we were also like, well, what's most important to us? It's like family time. You know, all these sorts of things became really important. So that's kind of my big journey that we've been going through, and we're still going through it. You know, we're still learning as we go, but launching the podcast in 2015 just like made my network explode. And obviously met you through it, had you on the podcast twice, I think now, or thrice.
Three times, I think. It was because when I first kind of got into this space, your business, Angle Crown, because you kind of talked about this on the podcast and a few other things, and you said we don't do the design, designers do the design and we build it. And I was like, oh, so we don't have to do everything. Yours was the first kind of epiphany moment that we had where we were like, oh, we don't have to be full stack as they often say. And I was like, oh, well, we'll just do
that's the direction we went in, by the way. You know, when I wish I'd said that. Sounds good now. Yeah, we went full stack.
In
2008, because that's what we thought we needed to do.
And that's a really common mistake that people make. I think a lot of the time, if we look at your process from, you know, identity, value through all the way through to coping, I think a lot of people, rather than thinking they need to become more specific about what they do, lower the number of clients they work, increase their prices, you know, choose their platform, which, as we can both agree, that's a big part of it. Instead, a lot of businesses try to just add more stuff to the business. I'm like, no, that's not the next step. If anything, that's just going to make things harder, right?
Yeah. Well, put it this way, yeah. If I'm not selling websites, what makes me think I'm also going to be able to sell SEO?
That is
why am I making my job harder? If I can't even sell the freaking websites, I should not be adding SEO to it, because that's now 2 things I have to try and sell, and I'm not being successful at either.
Yeah, I completely agree. And
I learned the hard way, mate, because I did that. I tried adding SEO like a numpty, and app development. And you name it, I was offering it. Oh my gosh,
app development,
nutter.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
CRM integration services, CRM administration services, you know, consultancy, just all this stuff on our website was ridiculous.
So what are the lessons out of the 5? Because obviously we've got a lot of speakers talking about kind of those individual stages. Just kind of wrapping it up here. You've gone through that process, which is, again, we'll link everything below so people can check it out. What are some of the lessons that you learned from your? That's it. Yeah.
I was only like and subscribe.
That you learned from your process of you know, getting things wrong, getting things right, that have influenced that journey. Like, why that particular process?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but I'll say some words and then it might help.
Well, no, maybe I didn't phrase it right. So at some point when everything was going wrong.
Yep.
And now you're at the stage where you think, actually, things are in a much better place, and we know how to comfortably run our business, and we also see the mistakes that other businesses make. Out of your journey, what were some of the things that you did? Like you mentioned earlier, you sat down, you had an identity thing about, like, who are we? What are some of the things that you did along that journey that other people are now going to be able to kind of see during the event?
Oh, okay. So, well, we're actually So I will be unpacking and giving every single exact question, for example, on my talks of our agency reset. So we actually went through a process of telling stories before we did anything else. So we told stories of what we had got up to over the last few years, because those stories helped us understand what we loved doing and also helped us work out, where our main pain points and problems were. So telling stories and having those kind of conversations with our peers or with ourselves or with our friends, if we're on our own, it is something that's really, really important to start off with. And then from your stories, you actually start to understand the character of who you are, your identity in that, and all of that you can then build out. So we're going to go deep dive into that sort of stuff. So helping people actually, here are the questions you need to do. Here's the worksheet. You can take this away. You can do it now whilst I'm talking, whatever. But let's actually start going through some of that reset. So that for me is a big one that I'll be teaching people, etc. But also throughout, we're trying to give messages from all of the different speakers, especially on the do what you can do, and don't worry about the things you can't do right now. That's very. I need to find a better way of saying that, but very much there will be. The point is we want to give people that mindset of I don't have to be doing all of this. These are what important for me. So one thing we did as well, when we did that reset, was we were like, we now finish at 5 every single day, even if we've not finished the work, because we need to be at home with the family. Even if we're like bricking it because we think we're not going to meet a deadline, we finish at 5. Just small things as well that we were doing. So I think I kind of answered your question, because I wasn't still not 100% sure what the question is.
I just wanted examples from.
That's some examples of stuff that we'll do.
That was perfect. Because
I
think it's easy when people come up with a process and they say these are the steps you need to go through, and it's like, well, like what do you mean by coping, or what do you mean by? And you're right, clocking off at 5. That was the design of your business that you put in, and it helps you go forward. It's funny about the story.
We actually got the work done by 5, actually, because once you got a deadline,
you tend to work to it. Yeah.
So we finish at 4 now, by the way, which is awesome.
I keep pushing it back. 9 to 9:30. That's the.
We've been finishing it. We've actually been, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've been finishing at 3 quite a lot.
That's awesome.
But anyway, and the guys downstairs keep calling us part timers.
Yeah, half day today.
Well, hey, here goes the part timers. They all shout as we walk out.
That's good.
Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Well, that's the goal, right? That's kind of the point, in my opinion. I think when people take risks like that, that's what pays off. So yeah, the event, man. We'll kind of wrap this up. Tell us when it is, how people can get involved, how people can get tickets and come along and see us all talk about this stuff.
All right. If you go to agencytransformation.live, you will see a website done on Elementor, even though I love Beaver Builder, but Elementor is pretty freaking amazing. Go ahead, check that out. All the speakers are on there. If you are interested in joining, we do have an early bird offer right now, so you can get your tickets at a discount for, as of this recording, the next 8 days, 12 hours, 26 minutes, and 55 seconds. And obviously now less.
Awesome.
And that means you will get 75 squid off the ticket. So it'd be great if you could come along. Agencytransformation.live. If you are watching this as an ATB member, you can also get a coupon inside of the membership area. So be sure to go check that.
Okay, excellent. So, and it's on the
shout out to those.
25th of April to the 26th?
Yeah, I forgot to say that, didn't I? 25th of April to the 26th of April. We'll have the likes of Troy Dean, Mike Killen, Amy Woods, Dave Toomey, Paul Lacey, Dan Maybe, Pete Chaneri from Design for Geeks. All those guys. I'll be there, hopefully. Should be. It's in Wellingborough, which is cool. It's in the church. So I have a church, not my church, but I go to it. We can get 400 people. We get 400 people. It's actually a proper event space as well, and we've got all the lighting and everything, and space for up to 400 delegates, which is freaking awesome. So for me, it's brilliant. I just get to drive down the road to my church, and it's all there set up and ready. But yeah, we're just above London. If you're traveling in from the States, we've got a few people traveling from Australia, Spain. We've got people from America coming over as well, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's mad.
The idea that, I keep saying this to Larissa. I'm like, Troy Dean is coming to Wellingborough. It just seems so weird.
Yeah.
The guy who gets to live in like Australia, which is beautiful scenery and everything, he's like coming to Wellingborough.
Yeah.
How does that does not compute?
Yeah. And everyone's going to be kind of hanging around and stuff, isn't it? It's not. It's the idea is we kind of get involved with everybody as well.
Yeah, exactly. All speakers and everyone all hanging out together. I'm feeding everyone for lunch, which is awesome. People get to hang out afterwards. There's loads of pubs and restaurants in the area as well that people can go off out to and hang out with speakers and all that sort of stuff. There's plenty of accommodation as well in the area. And we're even thinking of potentially doing an extra day on the Saturday of something with me and Troy. We haven't worked out what yet, but there might be some capacity for something else on top of what we're already doing as well. So we're still just putting feelers out there and seeing what the interest is, because a lot of people are super excited about getting there and hanging out with everyone in the community.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been really good to talk to you about this and
just
a little bit more about where it's come from.
Awesome. I've loved every second of it. It's actually helping me rewrite all my copy.
We'll go back to the website. We'll do it now. I won't do any screenshots of it now. How can people reach out to you?
Sure. Just add me. Facebook's the best place. So add me on Facebook. Gillian will put a link in there for my Facebook profile. Just add me there. That's fine. I love making new friends. But obviously, Agency Transformation Live. If you have questions about the event, there is a messenger bot on the bottom right-hand side. And you can ask questions, and that will get through to all of us here, and we can help you out as well.
Beaut. Thank you very much, Lee Jackson. Thanks very much for coming on. Cheers, dude. Bye, guys. Bye.
Take care. Bye.